Hello and welcome to Values Based Parenting. I am your guide, your coach, your mentor, the real Charles Brown, and I am very, very excited to be starting this course with you. I hope you are also. Just a little personal note, this is an extremely important course to me and a very sensitive topic and subject for me. So, having put this in a course format to teach you and to guide you along the way, I know is kind of a way to pay it forward. When I was early in my self help and self discovery journey, it was really my fear for my children and my strong desire to be a great parent to them that inspired me and motivated me and gave me the strength to start on my own journey. My idea was that the best way for me to teach and guide them was to show them. And it's a concept that we're going to talk about 2 or 3 times during this course throughout various modules. But a thing that I want you to start wrapping your brain around right now is that demonstration is the greatest form of persuasion, which means if you're a parent already, you know that it really means less what you say than what you do. Children are very, very curious learners. And so they might listen to what we say, but the odds are what's really going to stick with them is watching what we do. And if you watch them play and you watch them learn, you start to hear echoes of your own voice coming out of their mouth. You start seeing them mimicking some of your behaviors and some of your hobbies. That's all part of what we're going to leverage here within values-based parenting. Is a very important concept for you to understand and recognize, is that what you say has about this much influence, but what you do has a significant influence on your children. So if you think this course is about you sitting back, learning a bunch of things and being able to preach those to your children, I got some news for you. A big part of being a values-based parent is modeling and demonstrating these behaviors. So we're going to talk about those strategies throughout this course. Okay, enough of my soapbox there. Let's get right into it and let's start talking about exactly what is values-based parenting, what is this module, and what is this course all about. And the truth is, many of us aren't intentionally or purposely taught what our values are or what values are at all, never mind what our personal values are. So we're going to talk about what values are and why they're important. We're going to talk about communicating and demonstrating those values. And like I said, it's really going to start with you. It's going to start with us to create an environment where our children feel safe and secure and confident enough to start expressing and acting in alignment with their values. So we're going to talk about how to teach and how to instill that. And then, as with everything that I do, if you've enjoyed any of my other courses or any of my other teaching or posts or videos or anything, then you probably have an idea that I am extremely motivated toward positive reinforcement. There's very, very little need or instances where negative reinforcement is appropriate. So we're going to talk about positive relationships, positive reinforcement, and how to take the good things that our children do and leverage and grow on those. And then we're going to talk about supportive environments, and that bridges multiple environments: the physical environment, the emotional environment, the intellectual environment. We're going to talk about all those. So there's a lot to cover, but again, I'm really excited about this. And if you love your children as much as I do, which I'm sure you do, you're going to eat this stuff right up. So let's start at the very, very top, right? What is values-based parenting? And I put down some bullets here for you, so you can jot down what you want, of course, to help you remember and help you reinforce. But the real key to this topic right here is the word consciously that I put in there, right? So what I wrote is involving consciously identifying and prioritizing core values that our children demonstrate. And consciously is a really important part of this, because many of us are good people, but we've never really sat down to think about what our values are or what our parenting style is. We just kind of react in the moment, moment by moment, fire by fire, and try to do the best we can in that situation. The problem with that is anytime you rely on mood or memory, you're setting yourself up for failure, because human beings are innately fallible. And if you're just exhausted at the end of the day, which is typically, I remember I remember bedtime. I remember after dinner, that window between dinner and bedtime being extremely frustrating. Well, why? Because by that time in the day, we are absolutely exhausted, right? And it's one of the first opportunities probably that our children have had to just relax and let go and be themselves. They've been in a really structured environment all day. That's most likely the case. So they go a little bit crazy. We're tired. We're in a bad mood. And that's when we start snapping. And that's when we start using a lot of negative reinforcement, a lot of punishment, a lot of penalty. And it makes for a really unhappy home. So we're going to talk about consciously identifying and prioritizing core values within yourself, within your children, and ultimately within your family. Okay. Values-based parenting also emphasizes the importance of us modeling our values through our own actions and behavior. Again, what we're doing when we do that is we're creating an environment where we're demonstrating that making values-based decisions is okay. This is the place to do that. That's absolutely what we want you to do, child. So I'm going to demonstrate that by leading the way. I'm going to set the tone and I'm going to take the lead in this family as the parent, and I'm going to show you what I want you to do and how I want you to live. The wonderful side effect of that is, guess what? We live a values-based life ourselves. And if you yourself, if this is your first introduction to anything values-based, I would strongly recommend that you consider taking values-based identity. Values-based identity goes really, really deep on identifying who you are as an individual. It helped my parenting significantly. But again, of course, this is the takeaway specific towards parenting and family. Okay, so the final bullet there recognizes that there are a ton of benefits to having a values-based or a values-minded child or a values-based or values-minded parent, and within that, within that environment, because it instills in your children all the things that they need to shape their character, their choices, and their well-being over the entirety of their life. What I love about values-based stuff, values, identity, emotional needs, is they are absolutely core, foundational, fundamental skills that we can use over and over and over, no matter the challenge, no matter the environment, whether it's personal, professional, whether we move across the country or move across the world. It doesn't matter. We take our values, we take our needs with us. So these decision-making skills that we're teaching our children will absolutely serve them for the rest of their life, no matter what their future holds. So that's why it's always been so important to me. So why values-based parenting? I kind of just touched on it right there. I tend to do that, get ahead of myself. But values-based parenting places a strong emphasis on intentionality, intentionally identifying and prioritizing core values, because again, these are important tenets and principles by which we live our lives. Okay. It teaches children to make choices aligned with those values, which in every situation, unless there's life or limb at risk here, making a choice that aligns with our values is absolutely the right choice for us to make in that moment, because our life is just accumulation of our decisions, right? And it encourages you to support your children in exploring and developing their own values. One of the things that I don't like about my competitors' courses and their position on values-based parenting, if they have one at all, is that they present this as, you need to pick your child's values and you need to make sure that they follow those values. And what I'm going to tell you is, nuh-uh. It's not which values they choose that is important. What's important is that they understand the concept of values and they're making values-based decisions. We'll get into more of that a little bit later on. So the importance of values in parenting. So this is about our parenting style. When we are values-based people and values-based parents, it provides a foundation for consistent and intentional parenting. One of the most important things we can do for any child, no matter where they are along their developmental spectrum or their developmental journey, one of the most important things that we need to do for them as parents is provide a safe, secure, and consistent environment to the very best of our ability. It really reduces a child's anxiety, increases their self-esteem and their self-respect when they have confidence that their parents, their mentors, whomever they look up to, are consistent people. And being a values-based person allows us to do that. Our answer for that question is always going to be that answer because it's based on our value. It's not based on our mood, and it's not based on our memory. It's based on our values. So we're always going to reinforce the same boundaries and the same expectations in our children. And it's that type of consistency that grows very well adjusted adults. Okay. The kind of the next stage to that is guiding their moral development. Okay. So this is helping them develop a strong sense of right and wrong. And it also has shown to increase their levels of empathy and provide a moral compass. Again, we don't really know what our children's future holds. So, what do we really want to teach them? Well, we want to teach them skills that will allow them to flourish no matter what the external environment looks like. And that's an inside out conversation. And so, teaching our children where their moral compass is, what their values and needs are, that's going to go with them no matter where they go, no matter what challenges they face in their life. Okay. This creates an incredible sense, a very confident and strong sense of identity, belonging, and purpose. And I don't know about you, but that is absolutely what I want for my children. Some benefits. This is a good thing, right? All right. What am I going to get for this? I put in all this work. I learn all these strategies. I coach myself along the way, or I get help with myself, and then I pass these down to my children. What are the benefits? Well, like I said, it promotes a consistent and predictable environment when we ourselves are values-based. And in doing that, it allows children to develop a strong sense of security, stability, and trust. I will tell you, every client who comes to my couch, I don't have a literal couch, but I think you know what I mean. Every client who engages me, one of the things that every single client has in common is, despite their parents' best efforts, their needs were not met consistently or judiciously when they were a child. So that inconsistency and that fear and that uncertainty in their childhood has developed into having some troublesome problems as an adult, identity crises, poor relationship management skills, poor communication skills, low self-esteem. That's what happens when you grow up in an environment that is very uncertain and unsure. So one of the best things we can do as parents is provide a little bit of consistency. It's not, I don't want to paint a picture of being dull and predictable and, be a drill sergeant where every day we get it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, emotionally speaking, can your children count on you to show up as the same person and the best version of that same person every single time they need you? That's an important part of this process. Obviously, we've already talked about this, developing character traits such as empathy, respect, responsibility, resilience. I mean, who doesn't want that for their children, right? Eventually, they're going to lose us one way or another. And so we want them to be able to be self-reliant, and we want them to have the confidence and to face whatever their future holds without fear or uncertainty. And that's what values-based parenting provides for them. And finally, of the three benefits that I've chosen, is fosters a positive parent-child relationship built on open communication. I know it sounds like the holy grail. It sounds like I'm overreaching, but the reality is, when you can have values-based conversations with your children, you would be shocked at the things that they're willing to share with you, the questions that they're willing to ask you, and they know that they can come to you. That is another thing that every parent I know really, really wants. When something horrible happens with their child, one of their number one regrets is, I wish my child had felt confident enough to talk to me about this before they did whatever that risky behavior was, right? Or whatever that bad choice was. Most of the time, it's because of that child's anxiety about that inconsistency in their parent that prevented them from reaching out to their parent, the one person who is most invested in their progress. Obviously, if you're sitting here and you're watching this, oh my gosh, your children's well-being is a top priority in your life. So I know that you want that open communication. And I promise you, you being a values-based person, demonstrating that to their children. I am closer now with my children than I ever thought possible, because I have literally, of course, right? I'm the values coach nerd. I have absolutely raised them in this model, and we have absolutely fantastic relationships. So much of which because of their independence, ironically. Here's a little bit of research and evidence that I actually found pretty fascinating. And I'm just going to go ahead and kind of read it right from here. But values-based parenting has been shown to positively impact children's social and emotional development, leading to improved self-esteem, empathy, and pro-social behavior, which means they can interact with other people, other peers, other age groups, other peer groups in a very positive way without really having a ton of self-doubt. They have better academic performance as children with a strong foundation of values demonstrate higher motivation, greater goal setting skills, and perseverance. Very terrific stuff right there, right? And children in values based household tend to demonstrate reduced engagement in risky behaviors, such as substance abuse, and increased life satisfaction and overall well being in adolescence and adulthood. These are all amazing benefits that are supported by research and evidence of how to raise healthy, happy, well adjusted children, regardless of what their challenges might be. Okay. We're going to talk in the coming modules about how to go through these exercises, exactly what, who, what, when, where, why, and how of value. But just to get your mind set right and to pre-frame this, I want to talk about core values. So if you have looked at your bonus material, a copy of my book is in there. Within that is the values exercise. I also provided a bunch of resources, including a values worksheet and a self-care worksheet, which all kind of work together. But what you're going to see is you're going to see a list of probably 95 values. Okay. And I will tell you right now, I purposely populated that list with positive values because the truth is there's no bad values. All values are wonderful. So we all can appreciate all of those values, but identifying our core values is a very important part of this process, not only for ourselves, but for our children. So a core value is a fundamental principle and belief that guides our actions, our decisions, and our behaviors. What's not in there is that it guides our beliefs. We're going to talk specifically about how beliefs are formed and how we can manipulate those and update those on new information. Core values create a sense of identity, purpose, and unity, which is, man, just music to my ears. I will tell you, when I started this process for myself, I was deep in an identity crisis. I didn't know what was important to me. I just wanted to be great at stuff. I wanted to be a great parent. I just didn't know how. And it was actually my core values that helped not necessarily give me a bunch of stuff to do, but it was actually my core values that quieted all the white noise, all the things that I was chasing that weren't really important to me and therefore weren't really important in my parenting. And this is, again, a really important part of this. I'm going to drive this home several times. It helps parents make consistent and intentional parenting choices. And we want to do that so that our children can count on us. That's really what it comes down to. We want our children to be able to count on us. Okay. I said this a little bit towards the beginning of this module, but I'm going to repeat myself. It is not the commonality or sharing of values that matters. It's the demonstration that we have values that matters most to children. A lot of people, parents, have a misconception when they start this course that they need to go and pick really good family values and then direct the family to start following these values. That is not what I am advocating at all. What the healthiest families look like is a family of differentiated individuals. And what differentiated means is mom has her values, dad has his values, or whatever your family dynamic looks like. Daughters have their values, sons have their values, whatever. Every individual within the family is free to identify with and demonstrate their own values. Happy families are not the families who have the exact same values. That's weird. Okay. Happy families are the families in which each individual is allowed to identify, pursue, and live through their own values. And if you believe that there's no bad values on that list, then personally, it really shouldn't matter to you what values your child has. What should matter most to you is, are they making decisions in alignment with those values? Are they happy? Are they confident? Are they fulfilled? And if they're making decisions in alignment with their values, they absolutely are. Okay. Does it really matter whether they value adventure, or humor and fun, or collaboration, or faith, or honesty, or integrity. I mean, those are all fantastic values. So we really shouldn't worry about which ones. That's not the important piece of this. And to be honest with you, as children, your children's values might shift a little bit because they're still kind of developing their own personality. So even the values that they identify with, or even the values that you recognize in them at different stages of their life, that really may not become set, in stone until a little bit later in their development, maybe late high school, early college years, before those things really start to set. Okay. All right. So I've gone on about that. I'm really excited about this course though. So I tend to go off a little bit. So I'm going to try to keep these modules in manageable chunks. But in a conclusion here, what I'm talking about is a transformative approach that involves aligning parental decisions and actions with core values. And the purpose behind that, again, is to be consistent, to create a safe and secure environment for your children to start explore their own values. This is going to emphasize the importance of consciously identifying and instilling values, not only in ourselves, in our partners, but also in our children, and let them know that it's an important skill, life skill to learn, and it's definitely worth the effort to do. And ultimately, the outcome of that is create a nurturing and supportive environment that fosters that character development, resilience, and positive relationships with each other. So, okay, I am very excited. I hope you are as well. That was just intended to be kind of an overview there. If you have specific areas that didn't quite make sense to you, be sure to capture those questions for yourself. Don't let them go by the wayside. You can always comment on this module. I'll do my very best to answer specific questions. But as you can imagine, in this kind of format, it would be a little bit cumbersome for me to go into every possible example. So please share that feedback. Ask me specific questions about things that I skipped over, and be sure to have a little notebook somewhere to write down some questions for yourself, because maybe we're going to cover that material in the future sessions. Okay, that's it for the introduction. Let's dive right into the next module.